Ladies and gentlemen, the next 90 days in your life are not just another quarter of time. They are the period that can define your trajectory for years to come. I want you to truly understand this. The next 3 months are more important than any plan you made last year or any vision you have for next year. Time is the ultimate currency, and what you do in these 90 days will compound exponentially if used correctly. So let's talk about what this really means. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to stop for a moment and think about what you are actually doing with your life. Too often, people wake up each day, go through the motions, and assume that time will somehow work in their favor. But time is not neutral. It doesn't wait for anyone, and it doesn't reward passivity. The next 90 days you have are more important than you may realize because these are the days that will set the trajectory for the rest of your life. And if there is one thing that can make or break your ability to use these 90 days effectively, it is clarity of purpose. You cannot move with speed, with precision, or with power unless you know exactly what you are aiming for. Without purpose, you drift, and drifting is the slowest, most expensive way to live. Clarity of purpose begins with a very simple question. What do you truly want to achieve in the next 90 days? Most people will answer vaguely. I want to be successful. I want to grow. I want to improve. But these statements are meaningless because they are too general. Success is a moving target. Growth is infinite, and improvement can happen in 1,000 directions. If you want to make a massive impact in the next 90 days, you must define exactly what success looks like for you. You must have a crystal clear vision of the outcome you are after. This clarity will serve as a compass when the days get long, when obstacles appear, and when your energy wanes. If you don't know your destination, every effort becomes wasted energy. Every hour you spend could have gone towards something that actually moves you forward. Once you have defined your purpose, you must internalize it. This isn't something you write down and forget. It's not something you tell your friends or post on social media and assume that the act of saying it is enough. Clarity of purpose is something you breathe. It becomes part of your thinking. It shapes the questions you ask yourself every morning. It filters the decisions you make. When faced with a choice, you must immediately ask, does this align with my purpose for the next 90 days? If it doesn't, then it doesn't deserve your time, your focus, or your energy. Your purpose is like a lens. It brings the important into sharp focus and blurs out the irrelevant distractions that surround us every single day. Let me tell you why this is so critical. The next 90 days are short in absolute time, but they are long in terms of impact. What you do in these 3 months compounds. It doesn't just end at day 90. Decisions you make, actions you take, and energies you commit will multiply and reverberate in ways you cannot even imagine. If your purpose is unclear, you will waste these precious days spinning your wheels, chasing ideas that lead nowhere, and being busy without being productive. But if your purpose is clear, then every day becomes an opportunity to build momentum, to solve problems, and to move closer to a transformative result. You begin to see opportunities that others miss, because your mind is trained to recognize only what aligns with your goal. Clarity filters out noise and magnifies focus. Many people underestimate the power of focus. They think that being busy is the same as being productive, but busy work rarely leads to breakthroughs. Real breakthroughs happen when you focus your energy relentlessly on one clearly defined purpose. Think about the companies I've started, the rockets we've built, the cars we've engineered. None of it happened because we were busy. It happened because we were obsessed with a specific goal. We knew exactly what needed to happen, and we devoted every ounce of our attention to achieving it. That is what the next 90 days require of you. Not scattered effort, not passive hope. Obsessive, focused, intentional action toward a clearly defined purpose. Clarity of purpose also gives you resilience. Life will test you. The next 90 days will bring obstacles. Things will break, plans will fail, people will doubt you, and circumstances beyond your control will challenge your resolve. When this happens, a clear purpose acts as a stabilizer. It reminds you why you started. It gives you a reason to keep going when quitting feels easier. It transforms pain into fuel because every setback becomes a test of commitment to the purpose you have chosen. Without clarity, obstacles become excuses. With clarity, obstacles become stepping stones. Furthermore, clarity of purpose accelerates decision-making. Indecision is one of the biggest time wasters in life. When your purpose is unclear, every decision becomes a debate, every choice becomes a struggle, and every opportunity is second-guessed. But when your purpose is defined, decision-making becomes almost automatic. You have a filter that answers, instantly and without hesitation, whether something deserves your attention or not. The next 90 days are too short to waste on indecision. The world rewards speed, decisiveness, and focus, and you can only be fast when you know exactly where you are going. But here is the final truth. Clarity of purpose is not static. You must review it every day. You must ask yourself, am I aligned with my purpose? Am I acting in a way that will bring me closer to the goal I've set for these 90 days? If the answer is no, course correct immediately. There is no time for stubbornness, for ego, or for clinging to ineffective methods. The next 90 days demand ruthless self-honesty and a relentless commitment to action that serves your purpose. Clarity without action is useless. Action without clarity is chaotic. Together, they are unstoppable. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot overstate this enough. The next 90 days will decide everything. If you do not start with absolute clarity of purpose, you will waste them. You will wake up 3 months from now wondering why nothing has changed, why your goals are still out of reach, and why you feel stuck. But if you define your purpose with precision, internalize it, focus every action on it, use it to filter every decision, and let it drive every ounce of your energy, you will look back and realize that these 90 days were transformational. They will be the most important days of your life, because they set the trajectory for everything that follows. Ladies and gentlemen, ideas alone are meaningless. You can have the most brilliant vision in the world, but if you don't execute, if you don't take action, nothing changes. Execution is the engine that turns dreams into reality. The next 90 days are a window of opportunity, and how you act during this time will determine whether your life accelerates toward extraordinary success or stagnates in mediocrity. You can plan endlessly, read countless books, watch motivational videos, and strategize for years, but without intense, focused execution, all of that is wasted energy. Ideas without action are like rockets without fuel. They look impressive on paper, but they will never leave the launch pad. Execution demands more than simple effort. It requires relentless focus, precision, and urgency. You must move faster than anyone around you. Speed matters because in a world where everyone is trying to do something, the first to act gains a massive advantage. Many people overthink. They wait for perfect conditions, flawless timing, or complete certainty. I have spent my life learning one fundamental truth: perfect conditions never exist. Waiting for them is a trap. The world will always throw obstacles in your path, problems that seem insurmountable, and setbacks that shake your confidence. If you wait for the perfect moment, it will never come. The only way forward is to act immediately, adjust continuously, and iterate without fear of failure. Execution also requires obsession. You must obsess over details, over processes, over results, over every component of the system you are building. Most people are satisfied with good enough. But good enough does not change the world. Good enough does not inspire progress. Good enough keeps you in the ordinary while extraordinary lives pass you by. You have to demand more of yourself than anyone else could reasonably expect. Every task, every step, every decision must be measured against the goal you are trying to achieve in the next 90 days. Obsession is what fuels relentless action because it leaves no room for complacency, no room for delay, and no room for half-hearted effort. Execution also means being willing to work in ways others will not. It means taking on challenges that seem impossible. It means working nights, working weekends, and pushing beyond limits that you once thought were boundaries. The next 90 days are too short to waste even a single hour on distractions, on comfort, or on hesitation. You must be willing to outwork everyone else, not because anyone is watching, but because the results you want are demanding. If you approach these 90 days with average effort, you will achieve average results. But if you attack them with intensity, with an almost manic focus on action, you will create momentum that will carry you far beyond where you thought possible. But execution is not just about effort, it is about intelligent, deliberate effort. Blindly working harder without strategy is inefficient and exhausting. Execution must be paired with clarity, with prioritization, and with a willingness to adapt. you need to know exactly which actions will yield the highest impact. Focus on high-leverage activities. Eliminate the tasks that waste time. Every decision, every move, every action you take in the next 90 days must be aimed at producing measurable, meaningful progress toward your goal. This is what separates successful people from those who only dream of success. The world rewards those who act, not those who wait. Iteration is another critical component of intense execution. You will make mistakes. You will fail. But failure is not the enemy, inaction is. Each failure is data, a signal showing you what doesn't work, what needs adjustment, and where you can improve. You must embrace this process, not fear it. The next 90 days are your laboratory. Experiment aggressively, learn fast, and pivot quickly. Action without learning is wasted effort. Action with reflection and adjustment creates breakthroughs. Remember, success compounds. The more you do, the more you learn, the faster you execute, and the greater your results. Execution also requires courage. Taking bold action, especially in uncertainty, is intimidating. People will question you, doubt you, and sometimes even ridicule your efforts. The fear of failure is natural, but it is also your greatest enemy. The next 90 days will demand that you act despite fear, despite uncertainty, and despite resistance. Courage is what transforms thought into reality. Without it, even the clearest plans remain fantasies. You have to trust yourself, trust your judgment, and trust the process of action. Fear is temporary, regret lasts a lifetime. Finally, intense execution is about accountability. You must hold yourself to the highest standard. No excuses, no blame, no waiting for others to act first. The next 90 days are yours, and every action or inaction is a reflection of your commitment. Measure your progress daily. Be honest about what is working and what is not. Push beyond the comfort of excuses and demand results from yourself that match your vision. Execution is the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be. Without it, your vision remains just a dream. With it, you can achieve anything. Ladies and gentlemen, if you truly understand the power of the next 90 days, you will commit to execution like your life depends on it. Because it does. You will act with urgency, focus, obsession, intelligence, courage, and accountability. You will not wait for conditions to be perfect. You will embrace failure as feedback, and you will relentlessly iterate toward your goal. In the next 90 days, your level of execution will determine the trajectory of your entire life. Those who act decisively will move faster, achieve more, and transform themselves and the world around them. Those who hesitate will watch opportunities slip away. Execution is the defining factor between dreams and reality, between ordinary lives and extraordinary accomplishments, and between mediocrity and greatness. It is the single most powerful tool you have in shaping the next 90 days, and it is entirely within your control. Ladies and gentlemen, the next 90 days are not just another chunk of time. They are a decisive period, and how you spend them will determine whether you move forward at a revolutionary pace or remain stuck in mediocrity. One of the most critical factors in using these 90 days effectively is the principle of radical prioritization. Radical prioritization is about making conscious, intentional choices regarding where you focus your time, energy, and resources. It's about ruthlessly identifying what matters most and eliminating everything else that distracts you from your ultimate goals. Most people think they are busy, but busy does not equal productive. Radical prioritization is what separates those who achieve extraordinary results from those who merely fill their days with meaningless tasks. The first step in radical prioritization is to identify what truly moves the needle in your life or your work. Not all tasks are created equal. Some have massive impact and propel you toward your goals. Others are trivial and only serve to fill time. The next 90 days are too short to waste on anything less than high-leverage activities. You must ask yourself every morning, if I could only accomplish one thing today that would make everything else easier or unnecessary, what would that be? That question forces clarity and focus. It forces you to confront the reality that not all tasks are equal, and that your energy is finite. Once you identify that one task, the one action that will have the most profound effect on your objectives, you must devote yourself to it fully, without compromise. Radical prioritization also demands that you learn to say no. Most people underestimate the power of the word no. They accept invitations, tasks, and responsibilities that are not aligned with their goals because it feels polite, convenient, or socially expected. But every time you say yes to something that does not advance your priorities, you are effectively saying no to yourself, to your vision, and to your potential. Over the next 90 days, you must be ruthless in protecting your time. Every commitment must be evaluated against your ultimate objective. If it does not serve that goal, the answer must be no, without hesitation, without guilt. Radical prioritization is not a suggestion, it is a discipline, and discipline is what separates the extraordinary from the ordinary. Another element of radical prioritization is the elimination of distractions. We live in a world of constant interruptions: emails, social media, messages, meetings, notifications, and countless minor tasks that fragment our focus. These distractions seem harmless, but they accumulate, steal time, and dilute the quality of your work. The next 90 days demand that you recognize these interruptions for what they are: enemies of progress. You must create boundaries. Turn off notifications, close unnecessary tabs, schedule blocks of uninterrupted time, and protect your attention like it is the most valuable resource you possess, because it is. Attention is the currency of results, and radical prioritization is the strategy that ensures it is spent wisely. Prioritization also requires adaptability. You will not always know which actions will yield the highest impact, and the world will throw unexpected challenges at you. Radical prioritization is not a static plan, it is a dynamic, evolving strategy. It requires continuous assessment of what is working, what is not, and what actions will create the greatest leverage moving forward. You must be willing to adjust your focus rapidly, to pivot toward what matters most, and to abandon tasks or projects that no longer serve your goals. The next 90 days are too critical for rigidity. Flexibility combined with ruthless focus is what makes radical prioritization truly powerful. Radical prioritization also demands deep self-awareness. You cannot prioritize effectively without understanding your strengths, weaknesses, and the areas where you can create the greatest impact. Spend time analyzing yourself and your environment. Identify where your efforts generate exponential results and where they only produce marginal gains. Double down on what works, delegate or eliminate what does not, and focus relentlessly on what leverages your unique capabilities. This is the mindset of the most successful individuals and innovators. They know exactly where to apply their energy, and they are unwavering in their commitment to those priorities. Time, above all, is the limiting factor in radical prioritization. The next 90 days are finite. You cannot create more hours, you cannot pause the clock, and you cannot recover lost time. Every minute wasted is a minute that see and not be reclaimed, and every hour spent on non-essential tasks is an hour not spent building your future. Radical prioritization is a recognition of the preciousness of time. It forces you to confront the brutal reality that you must focus on what truly matters and ruthlessly cut away the rest. If you embrace this principle, the next 90 days will yield progress that far exceeds what most people accomplish in years of aimless effort. Radical prioritization also creates clarity for your decision-making. When you know what is most important, decisions become simpler, faster, and more aligned with your goals. You no longer waste energy debating minor choices or second-guessing yourself. Every action is filtered through the lens of what matters most. This clarity reduces stress, increases efficiency, and amplifies results. When your priorities are clear, execution becomes easier because you always know where to direct your focus, energy, and attention. Finally, radical prioritization is a mindset. It is not just a technique you apply for a few days. It is a way of living and working. Over the next 90 days, you must internalize this mindset, make it habitual, and allow it to guide every decision, every action, and every thought. When you fully embrace radical prioritization, you stop wasting time on trivial matters, you accelerate progress toward your most important goals, and you position yourself to achieve extraordinary results. The next 90 days are too valuable to be distracted by anything less than what truly matters. By focusing on the vital few and eliminating the trivial many, you unlock a level of productivity, clarity, and success that most people can only dream of. Ladies and gentlemen, momentum is one of the most underestimated forces in life. People often wait for motivation to appear, for perfect circumstances to line up, or for the stars to align before they act. But the truth is that momentum is created by action, not the other way around. The next 90 days are a critical period where the habits you establish, the efforts you make, and the decisions you execute will compound into unstoppable forward motion. Momentum is the difference between a project that barely moves forward and one that grows exponentially, and it is the force that separates ordinary individuals from extraordinary achievers. To build momentum, you must start with a single decisive action. Many people get paralyzed at the beginning because they overanalyze or wait for conditions to be perfect. But perfection is an illusion, and waiting for it will only cost you time and opportunities. The first step, no matter how small it seems, sets everything else in motion. Once you take that step, no matter how modest, it creates energy, it creates direction, and it creates the psychological signal that you are committed to progress. This initial action is the spark, and momentum is the fire that follows. It is impossible to generate momentum without starting. Momentum grows through consistency and repetition. The next 90 days are too short to be sporadic. Small actions repeated consistently accumulate results that are far greater than the sum of their parts. Every day you push forward, no matter how minor the step, contributes to a compounding effect. This is how breakthroughs occur. It is not always a single massive effort that creates change, but the accumulation of consistent, targeted actions. Momentum does not appear instantly, it grows slowly, quietly, and then suddenly accelerates until it becomes unstoppable. The key is to remain disciplined during the early stages, even when progress feels slow or invisible. Another essential aspect of building momentum is celebrating and leveraging small wins. When you achieve a result, no matter how minor it seems, recognize it and use it as fuel to push further. Momentum feeds on success, and success feeds confidence. When you accomplish something tangible, it creates belief in yourself and your abilities. It validates your strategy and reinforces the notion that forward motion is possible. The next 90 days are too short to ignore these small victories. Every completed task, every solved problem, every step closer to your objective strengthens your momentum, creating a virtuous cycle that propels you forward with increasing energy and speed. Momentum is also about removing friction and resistance. Every obstacle, distraction, or inefficiency slows you down. Over the next 90 days, you must identify and eliminate anything that impedes your forward motion. This could be unnecessary meetings, digital distractions, inefficient processes, or even self-doubt. Friction is the silent killer of momentum. The more you reduce resistance in your environment, in your systems, and in your thinking, the faster you will accelerate toward your goals. Momentum thrives in clarity, focus, and streamlined effort. The less friction you have, the more natural and powerful your forward motion becomes. Taking bold, decisive action compounds momentum even faster. When you act with courage, when you embrace challenges that others avoid, momentum multiplies. Ordinary actions create ordinary progress. Extraordinary actions create extraordinary acceleration. The next 90 days are a rare window to push yourself beyond the boundaries of what feels comfortable, beyond the limits of what seems reasonable. Bold action generates results, and results generate momentum. The more daring your actions, the more energy you inject into the system, and the faster you will move toward your ultimate goals. Momentum is also psychological. Action breeds confidence, confidence breeds risk-taking, and risk-taking breeds further action. Once you begin to move, your mind aligns with your actions. Doubt and hesitation fade because your brain recognizes that progress is real and tangible. Momentum is not just a physical force, it is a mental one. When you see forward motion, when you feel the power of compounding effort, you are inspired to keep going. Over the next 90 days, harnessing this psychological force will multiply your productivity and effectiveness far beyond what you might imagine. Accountability amplifies momentum. When you commit to someone or something, whether it's a team, a mentor, or even just a personal promise, your actions gain weight and urgency. Accountability adds pressure, focus, and clarity to your efforts. The next 90 days are too valuable to act in isolation. Share your goals, track your progress publicly or privately, and create a system that keeps you accountable. Momentum is magnified when others are aware of your progress because it adds an additional layer of drive to continue moving forward, even when obstacles appear. Finally, building momentum requires patience and trust in the process. Momentum does not appear instantly, and it can feel fragile in the beginning. The first actions may feel slow, the results may seem small, and progress may appear invisible. But each step contributes to the energy that propels you forward. If you maintain your discipline, continue taking consistent, high-leverage actions, eliminate friction, and embrace boldness, momentum will build naturally. Soon, it will feel unstoppable. The next 90 days are your opportunity to initiate this process and set your life on a trajectory that compounds far beyond what most people achieve in years. Ladies and gentlemen, momentum is a force multiplier that can take ordinary effort and turn it into extraordinary results. The next 90 days are the ideal window to ignite this force. Start now, act consistently, celebrate small wins, eliminate friction, embrace boldness, leverage accountability, and trust the process. The energy you create today will carry you forward tomorrow, and the momentum you build over these 90 days will define the trajectory of your life, your work, and your impact on the world. Those who harness momentum do more, achieve faster, and reach higher than those who wait. Momentum is not accidental. It is intentional. It is created through action, and it is the key to transforming potential into reality.